It's the beginning of February. So what does that mean? Yes. I'm doing the market update for January. Stick around. Hi, welcome back. My name's Joe Brown. I'm a realtor with Century 21, Elizabeth Beggins, located in South Tampa. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So if you've been with me, you know at the start of each month, I reflect back on the previous month. So, and I give a 2-month comparison. So today I'm going to look at January of 23 and see if we see any difference from December of 22. And I will tell you that there's a couple surprises and a couple things we really have to focus on. So I'll put my handy dandy chart up here just so you can follow along. So let's take a look at active listings. Now, this is a surprise to me, and it might be a concern, but you can see active listings were down to 448. So it could be a concern because to really get to a level market where prices stabilize, we need and we want more inventory on the market. So this 400, some active listings, if we go back to January 20 before the COVID shutdown, we had well over 1,500. So we're still about a quarter of the way, right? Just 25% of where we were just 3 years ago. So that's a concern. That's something we have to see. Now, typically, active listings in December and January is lower. So this is something we just have to keep watch on over the next few months to see if that ticks up. Because here's the thing. If inventory stays low, people are still buying homes. We'll talk about that in a second. It's going to create that frenzy of when homes come on the market, there are more buyers than homes, and we'll see prices accelerate. And we'll talk about that too. Let's take a look at new listings. So these are people, if you remember, I said a lot of people have the idea that from Thanksgiving to the Christmas holidays, people just don't want to put their home on the market. Yet they did. So now January starts, people are saying, okay, we're out of holiday season. What's going to happen? And you can see 211 new listings. Oh, you know what I didn't say? Remember, this is just South Tampa, okay? The 5 zip codes of South Tampa. So in South Tampa, 211 families put their home on the market. Now, that's good because you can see that was really an uptick from 134. We're at 211. I've said historically, right, take all the months and divide by 12, we average about 250 new listings a month. So at 211, we're getting there. So people are still actively looking to sell their homes. Well, when people put their home on the market, how long does it take to sell? And you can see we're about 49 days. So I was curious and I looked back a year ago, January of 22, we were at 24 days. So just in that 1 year time, it's doubled. It's still a month and a half, which is very quick. People are still looking for homes. It's still very fast. Look at sales. So these are people that have actively put a contract on the home and it closed in January, 123. And we are down, right? We've seen this trend over the past several months. The number of sales is down. Part of that is the interest rate. As interest rates have gone up, it forced a lot of buyers on the sideline. Interest rates have come down. More people are actively buying. And I'm actually going to talk about interest rates in a second because some interesting things are happening there. Take a look at median sales price And you can see we're down to 570,000. But again, if you look back to January of 22, the average sale price was 515. So the year-over-year change is 11%. That's for South Tampa. Tampa as a whole, year-over-year is up 18%, which is, in my mind, crazy if you think interest rates have doubled last year, right? We started the year just over 3. We were like 3.2. In October, it went over 7. Yet, home prices went up 18%. And in South Tampa, just 11%. A typical, right, historically, home prices increase about 2 to 3% a year. So Tampa as a whole, South Tampa, is still a very active market. And so for those people saying, I'm going to wait for home prices to drop, well, they really didn't drop, even with interest rates going up. If we take a look at the ratio, right, and this is what a house sells for compared to what it was originally listed at. And I changed this because I used to say what a house sells for what it's listed at, but now it's what it's originally listed at. Because if I list a house for $500,000 and people aren't looking at it, it's getting no attention. So I dropped the price to $450,000, and now people come in and say, yes, they want the house for $450,000. So what's that difference between the $500,000 I originally asked and the $450,000 that I sold? That's the ratio. So here you can see the ratio is at 96%, 96.7. And that was an uptick from 94. So for those people, and I said it a minute ago, there are some buyers that are saying, I'm going to wait for prices to come down. Well, home sellers are still getting about 97%, right? So anywhere from 94 to 97% of the asking price for their house. And I really think that's going to be the trend. I'm not expecting a 20% decline or a 30% decline at all. Not with the low interest, not with the low inventory that we have, and not with the interest rates the way they are. Look at months of inventory, and we're still at 4 months. And again, it is a seller's market. Anything below 6 months is a seller's market. Now, the closer you get to 6, the amount of increase softens, right? It becomes lower. If we only had 3 weeks of inventory on the market, we're going to see a huge acceleration, which we did back in 2020 when home prices went up 30%. Now it's 4 months, and we're going to see some of that acceleration slow down. And we may very well get to a 5% or 6% increase. So here's a couple takeaways, right? I talked about the active listings. That's down. That's something we have to keep watch of, right? New listings are up. We're going to see if it continues, if it's going to be in that 210 to 250 range, which, let me just say, I am going to be a plug for myself, right? I am a realtor. So if you have friends or family, or even you are thinking about selling your house, give me a call. Let's talk. Maybe you want to work with me, maybe you don't, but at least we'll talk and you'll get some answers, right? So days to sell, still 1.5 months. What that means, buyers, compared to January of last year, buyers have more time. Buyers can think about a home, compare it to other homes that they're looking at. So that's good for buyers. Sellers get worried. There are some sellers that still think homes should sell quickly. And I think we're getting out of that. I think agents are doing a better job of telling their sellers, saying, listen, this is going to take a couple months. Sales are down. So is this cyclical, right? So typically, I can show you historically, sales are down in January. Is that going to continue? That's a trend we have to watch over the next few months. A lot of it is going to depend on the interest rates. And I said this in a video I did a few weeks ago. A lot of what the market does hinges on interest rates. Now, I just read today, interest rates are down to 6.09. So what does that mean? So let's say a family has budgeted $2,400 a month for principal and interest, right? You'll have other expenses. You'll have insurance and taxes. But for principal and interest, you say $2,400. Well, in October, when interest rates were 7.09, that family could afford a house of $350,000, $357,000. Well, today at interest rates at 6.08, that same family can afford a house of $396,000. So just in a matter of months, a family's purchasing power increased $40,000, right? Just because of the change of interest rates. So that is great news. Now, my fear and my absolute belief is interest rates are going to go up over time. The Fed released interest rates on Wednesday, and they raised rates by 0.25. So right now it's at a 4.75. They've indicated that more rate hikes are going to come in the future. A lot of it depends on inflation and how the economy responds to these rate hikes. Now, don't get me wrong. There is not a one-to-one correlation between the Fed hikes and mortgage rate hikes, right? Mortgage rates track the 10-year Treasury. So you really need to look at the 10-year Treasury, see what that's doing. And in fact, it had a big drop yesterday. So if that trend continues, then I would predict next week interest rates to drop even more, mortgage rates to drop even more. So that's something I track daily, something you should track daily, those mortgage rates. I think that the 10-year Treasury and the mortgage rates are going to rise over the next few months. So if you're a buyer, my recommendation to you is buy on the dips, right? We're at 6.09. Could it be lower next week? Very well. Could it be higher next week? Very well could be, right? I don't have a crystal ball, and I didn't stay at the Holiday Inn Express. But figure out your budget. Look at homes that give you some flexibility, and we can move from there, okay? So right now, interest rates have dipped down. Buy on the dips. Lock in those rates while you can. I hope this information was useful for you. Do me a favor, leave a comment below, right? I share market data. I have a blog that I share the market data for Hillsborough County. Tell me what you're interested in. What topics would you want me to address on this YouTube channel or on my blog, right? Send me some notes, send me some ideas. I thank you so much for spending time with me, learning about this market. I know this market, right? I've said this before, I haven't said it lately, but by my knowledge, I can change the game for you. right? Because I understand the market. I understand what I'm doing. So put me to work for you. Let's see if selling your home or buying a home is the right avenue for you right now. Thank you so much for being here. I love sharing this information with you because South Tampa, Florida living is awesome.